Okay, good morning. Welcome in for another Friday Safety Focus of the Week. It is 6:30, June 14th. This week's code of conduct is to be prompt, start on time, work appointments, projects, etc. We did that so far today, so check that box. Ben Dow, anything to add?
Well, just if you're not going to make it, communicate and let people know, especially if during an appointment that's scheduled for you to be there. We'd rather have you call ahead and get there a little bit late than speed and get hurt on the way.
Yep, good communication goes a long way.
It's also respectful for the people on the other end that are waiting for you.
That's true. So 17 days from our last recordable and 17 from our first aid. We're just needed to finalize a finger crushing that occurred late yesterday afternoon, so that might change. But again, just remember hand placement. Let's use bars and crowbars and wrenches and spud wrenches, things like that, to not put our hands in a dangerous situation. Those pinch points can really get us out there. Tom, any shout outs that you want to announce this week?
Yeah, Taylor Destel and Ed Wilbur were working up at DFA without Greg Farr, their foreman, and they didn't have any access to Teams or anything like that, but they called and got everything figured out, and Taylor did an excellent JHA just on the notes in his phone based on the forms that we normally use. So that was really cool to see you guys stepping up and doing good things. So
yeah, thanks for sharing. Good job, Taylor and Greg and crew. So this week we're going to highlight fall protection. It's definitely a big risk on a couple of our projects this week, but it's a good annual refresher and training. When do we need fall protection? We get a lot of questions, and unfortunately, the regulations aren't really crystal clear. There's different scenarios that have different kind of fall protection requirements. The rule of thumb and the more safest way that you can think about it is anytime you're working 6 feet above a lower level, you need fall protection. But then there's different scenarios with work environment and how to complete the work in a safe but also efficient manner where you can jump into the regulatory requirements and have different distances that we can work with. So it all depends on our situation of when we kind of use fall protection. We'll kind of go over our conventional ways of fall protection here after this. But for steel work, so steel work follows subpart R, which is the OSHA regulation 1926, and subpart R is for steel work. So steel components doing any kind of steel work, and that's actually a 15-foot fall rule. So at 15 feet, we need to make sure that we have fall protection. So the railroad is a DOT like OSHA, but it's just written in 214, and that's section 105, and that's at 12 feet. Anytime we're working on a scaffolding system, scaffolding has its own standard in OSHA, and that's subpart L in the 1926 standard, and that's at 10 feet. So a lot of the scaffolding that we have is just our typical frame, but also it counts for the scaffolding that we have for our concrete forms. So that's 10 feet for those types of situations. And all other situations that don't really classify in those standards that we have is a 6-foot rule, and that is subpart M. And then lastly is the mobile elevated work platform, aka kind of man lifts. We need to have fall protection on all the time inside a man lift. A scissor lift is different. It's designed for flat surface, concrete flat surface, more kind of industrial indoor type of environments. And those ones you actually don't need to wear a harness and lanyard in a scissor lift. So we get a lot of these questions, and we want to just kind of highlight that kind of point of those are the situations that we need to make sure that we have fall protection. Next is the hierarchy of controls with fall protection itself, and designing and classifying the right system for the environment. And it's really having a plan in place before we go out and do the work. Sometimes these systems are cumbersome or hard to get, depending on the environment. So again, emphasis of pre-planning. You know that you're going to have a fall hazard next week or later on in the week. Get with health and safety, and we'll help design and develop that kind of fall protection plan for that project. So again, eliminating, again, that's perfect, but that really has to be in before we even like as we're bidding the job, that's how we need to design it, kind of eliminate that hazard. Passive is a kind of a stationary prevention, non-dynamic. What I like to say that passive is more guardrails, barricades. You're physically kind of isolating the person from the fall hazard. That's kind of most effective. But again, it goes in that design phase. You almost have to bid the job that way. And I have some examples here in the next couple slides. Restraint system. This is kind of another system that we have where it's almost like a seatbelt. There's different types of harnesses and lanyards where you actually, it locks you from actually that fall, that leading edge fall. And then the arrest doesn't actually stop you from a fall. You actually fall, but then you're hopeful that the system that you have implemented is working. And the last is that admin control, and that's just the team communication actor, and that's kind of our controlled access zone that you mostly see for roofers, and we've used those for precast concrete structures. So again, just kind of looking at it a little bit different. We want to like really focus on the passive, the fall hazard restraints. We want to be in that type of area. And here's some examples. Here's one that we did last year, a controlled access zone for the precast. Okay. We had safety was present for this, kind of watching and just only going on to the 6-foot fall to pretty much do anything that we need to do on top of the precast culvert. We can utilize that for that, but again, it's not a preferred method, but to set up a guardrail, that's very cumbersome, and it doesn't really align well with the phasing of the job. But the controlled access zone in this meets the requirements, and as long as we're all paying attention and focus on the task at hand and not getting complacent, we shouldn't walk off and fall off that structure. So on the other side is the more passive, which is the guardrail system that we normally typically love to see. And these need to be roughly at 42 inches plus or minus 3. So any of that range from 45 to 35. Our verticals need to be roughly every 8 feet. Toe boards are preferred, especially if we have workers down below, because tools and debris can fall on individuals working below. And it needs to withstand a roughly about 200 pounds of lateral force. So if you kind of shake it and if you feel like someone can lean up against it and it might break, that system needs to be replaced. So again, guardrail systems is really our preferred method. And then here's another really prime example of planning, providing, and training is a fully decked underneath a rail bridge. This is a very passive system. Again, we're eliminating the fall from happening. It's definitely a great system, and it really eliminates that fall protection hazard. And then last is one that we took this week. We have a big fall exposure in Richmond right now, and it's hard to see, but we have a horizontal lifeline. After once these are set, we're going to be kind of walking these beams with a horizontal lifeline. So this is a system that we had to use to perform the connecting part and everything that all the steel work can. So we're relying on this system with a harness and a lanyard, with a retractable lanyard, to making sure that if we do have a fall, someone's only going to probably fall about anywhere from 2 to 8 feet. So it's a well-designed plan. And we want to make sure that anytime we're using a harness and lanyard, that we also have a rescue plan in place, because someone's going to be dangling if they do fall. So we got to make sure we can get that individual to safety in a timely and effective manner. And please let health and safety know if someone ever does kind of fall, because that safety equipment then needs to be re-inspected. And also the employee should maybe get checked out if they did bump or hit their head or have any suspension trauma at all from dangling. So big exposure out there on all of our job sites. Let health and safety know if you have any questions on fall protection. Remember all the different types and scenarios that we have. Kind of that rule of thumb is 6 feet. Anytime you're above 6 feet, we need to have some type of protection. Guardrail, personal fall arrest system, harness, lanyards, all that good stuff. Tom, anything to add on fall protection that you're seeing out there?
Yeah, just make sure that if you're working at any sort of height that you're not just hanging out and doing nothing. Only do it with a purpose. And if you're going to be there for a while, make sure to use guardrails and stuff like that, even if it might only be 5 feet or 10 feet on the railroad or 9 feet on the railroad or something crazy. So just make sure that you're going above and beyond the rules.
And inspect your equipment. I mean, we've just purchased all new. So everything that we should have is within the last really 24 calendar months. So everything should be good and good. But again, when we're hot working, torch cutting, things like that, Ambers could get on that fall protection. We don't want any holes because this is life-saving equipment. So please do a thorough inspection before you use.
I've got something, Matt.
Go ahead, Ben.
We have several different types of lifts, aerial lifts. And we've got bucket truck that could be, especially for these short duration things where you need to get up high and do something. It might seem like you don't want to get a bucket truck, but if it's right up the road, rather than trying to climb up and do a lot of planning for a short duration thing and taking a risk, coordinate, and I'm sure somebody could get a bucket truck out to you, especially if it's a short duration thing. They're very mobile.
Yep. Yeah, instead of working off high ladders in awkward situations. Yeah, for sure.
To eliminate all the stuff we just talked about, sometimes a bucket truck can help have to think about all that and plan it. And I know Matt Saganowitz is pretty good at that bucket truck, and he's always willing to help everybody. So he'd jump in it and bring it right down.
Thanks for sharing.
All set,
All right,
guys?
Ken. Yep, take it over.
One upcoming safety issue is the pretty extreme hot weather coming in the middle of next week. So I assume that there could be some, heat indexes that exceed 100. Is that where our normal criteria is, or 95, or what is it?
95, yeah, 95. Yep.
So I assume that's going to happen. They were talking about temperatures. Maybe I saw something on the news this morning, 98 for Wednesday. So I'd say keep a lookout for our internal warnings, and certainly keep an eye on the weather on the news. And
bring water, right? Bring water. Yeah.
Just
rest, shade, and water. Rest, shade, and water, and try to plan our work at an earlier part of the day. And maybe if we can be done by 2 before that 4, 5, 6 o'clock window. If we can start at 5, might be a good day to start early.
Yes, for sure. And then if there is a heat index in excess of 95, we typically put out the warning internally and say that with permission of the project and your supervisors, you can wear shorts.
Right.
Because the heat is that extreme. So good. Okay. All right. Well, wanted to mention that. So I'll take over the screen here.
Yep. Thanks for sharing. That's on our radar, Ken.
Yeah.
For Monday.
Let's see. Here we go. Hasn't popped up here. Well,
we see it, Ken.
You do? Okay.
Yep.
You see. I'm not sure why I don't. Let's see. You're sharing a screen. Let me try going back to here. I'm going to redo it because I can't see it. Well, let me open it this way first. Okay, there it is. I see. Let me move it down. You tell me if it's scrolling down. Did it scroll down?
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
All right. So we'll start with Happy Father's Day to all our ECI dads. Pretty exciting that it's already Father's Day. The summer is about to begin in next week, I guess. So also Juneteenth Day is Wednesday the 19th, and we are open. And the Vermont state offices are also open, but federal offices and I believe the post office are closed, and certainly some banks, maybe not all banks, are closed. And we have news on our upcoming Independence Day holiday schedule. This year, the 4th is on a Thursday, which means we'll be closed Thursday, which also puts kind of an awkward situation in the week. So we are going to close on the 5th. So the office will be closed. Overall projects as needed, but pretty much I'm thinking the projects, I should have stressed this a little differently. Probably project sites will be closed unless shut down, unless otherwise unless we decide we need to be there for some reason. And also we are making sure that since we are going to take the time off on the 5th, that all full-time active employees will receive 8 hours of ATO. So extra 8 hours of ATO for the 5th. So if you're working the 5th, you have to work the 5th, then you can bank that 8 hours as ATO, but hopefully everyone will be able to extend the July 4th day into a long weekend here.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, great. We're excited to do that.
Yeah. So there'll be
And-
more direction, Ken, when we get close, because it'll be
Right.
a day that it won't be a holiday. We'll do it just like we did on the eclipse day.
Right.
That's awesome.
And then I have again the Vermont Healthcare Declaration. It is due by Thursday the 20th. If you haven't done it, please do it by then. Otherwise, you'll be getting a follow-up call, I'm sure. So if you are currently not part of our healthcare program and you haven't done one of the forms recently, for example, if you hired recently, I think you have automatically done that as part of our orientation. So if you are not a member of our healthcare program and you're not a recent employee, then you need to make sure you have done this and have it in by the 20th. EEO training, again, this is something I'm just carrying on here. Probably this might be the last week, just to make sure everyone's got that training that has to be done. You can do a link connection to the link I have on there. I have our social media links here to Facebook and Instagram, and also want you all to look for the June photo contest, and you can send in your favorite ECI photo. And then the healthcare premium holiday is still going on. I don't recall what day it ends, but it's coming up pretty soon. And we have a few new employees. We have George Batchelder. He's a railroad flagger. We have Ajay Magar, if I'm pronouncing it right. He's with Heavy Civil. And Cameron Hinton, who is concrete. And I think Cameron is a returnee guy.
He is.
Welcome back. Welcome, everybody. And I have a little announcement on the 401k. There's a ReadySave mobile app. So it allows you to access your 401k accounts on your phone or any mobile device. And you log in. You have to log into the Ascensus account to set it up. If you have any questions, check with Gina. I did accidentally have 363 as her exchange number. It's 316. So 802-316-1110. So if you have any questions, check with Gina, or if you have problems with that phone number, just call the office and we'll get you the right number. But there is a a ReadySave mobile app connection here. So we've got a help sheet. So you shouldn't have to connect with Gina, but if you have problems, you can. We have the wellness care link here, so want to keep that in people's mind. If you're not already a part of the wellness program, it's kind of a really good wellness thing that has some pretty good benefits, such as the some emergency care type services that if you say have a problem that occurs, health problem or accident or something off the job site, and you don't really want to deal with it in maybe the formal ways, this is a great little program to get someone to look at it quick and easy. So for this week's project of the week, we're talking about the State Street resurfacing project in Montpelier. And ECI is contracted with the city of Montpelier for resurfacing a section of the State Street in Montpelier. That's one of the capital. And this full width milling and paving project was one of the very last items of a much larger project that had been in the works to reduce Montpelier's combined sewer overflow, or CSO. The city had been challenged with an old sewer main that had a sag on it and other issues. And the CSO contractors' scope of work, not us, included only pavement patching work, which is significantly damaged during the flooding of 2023. And the city elected to contract with ECI to resurface the high-profile area as a separate project, paving project. And our work included 2 inches of cold plain milling over 4,250 square yards, 2 inches of bituminous concrete pavement, which works out to be actually over 300 ton in this case, and the polyurea urea line striping for crosswalk start bars and letters and symbols, and that was done by a sub. And then traffic control, we hired flaggers and we managed the flagging people. So traffic control, of course, is very challenging. This very busy section that includes heavy tourism traffic, almost daily activities at the State House lawn, and a Saturday's farmers market. And that was the day we happened to pave. I included this photo, and Jim, you're on the line, right? You're out
Yes,
there.
I am, Ken.
Okay,
Sure.
well, you can help. I'll just
Sure.
introduce this photo and
Scroll
let you
down.
narrate through the rest. But this was an online photo kind of in the public domain from the UVM Spatial Analysis Laboratory. And this is the flood,
Oh,
an aerial view, and State Street runs right in front of the Capitol there. And you can see that during the storm of July 2023, everything was flooded and inundated, and there was a construction project going on there at that time, which only included patching of the trench work.
Yeah.
So you can imagine a lot of issues, and in that Montpelier was hit very hard. If anyone got
Yeah.
down there during the storm, it was pretty bad. It was awful. So Jim, I'll let you take over.
all right. This is just a photo of us cold planing. Actually, I screwed up, Ken, and gave you the wrong depth. We actually only milled 1.25 inches.
Oh, okay. All right.
But that's all well. Sean Bushy and Brian Martell and I believe Hunter
Yeah.
on the machine. That's right in front of the old, what's in there? The museum, I think, in that building.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And actually the
I've been
governor's, yep. Yeah, you can keep scrolling. Ken, that's a nice photo. Ken, if you took that one, or
Yeah,
right in
right
front of
there.
the State House.
Didn't go near that marble, I hope, or granite. I mean,
No, stay away. Yeah, I like that. Good one.
yeah.
John Bushy and crew, Dave Bowen, Adam, Brian Martell, Hunter, and I think Sean Moritz. Great photo. Thanks.
Yeah, cool picture.
I'll have to submit that one for, actually, I might like the one a little bit lower. Rob Kneebone, and he's working with Gene Goslett on training on their tar truck.
Yep.
Thanks, Rob. That's a great photo, Ken.
Right.
Running dual pavers. I think Daryl and Brian kind of doing like the park and row,
Right.
leading and following up with the big paver and paving crew. Way to get it done a little bit faster. Luckily, the farmers market was just off from where we're doing toward the Bailey Street corner there in the Union Mutual
Right.
parking lot.
Pretty much right at the start of our page.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it moved. It used
That's
to
a
be
great
over
photo.
at some of the parking lots in the back, but it's right
Yeah.
there in the corner.
And another, I don't know if that's the same side. That's the other side. Yeah. Again, doing the two pavers. So basically made it one giant pass with the two passes. That was made things move along much quicker.
And operation.
There's Daryl and Brian Martell with a small paver leading, doing the parking row.
Yep, and that's Hunter there.
Yes, I believe so. I think, yep. With the Weiler. Matt Scaramucci on the 10-ton roller.
Yep,
Not sure who the truck is, but nice that it's a ECI truck.
yep.
Kylie in the background, I think. And here's some line stripping going on. L&D doing a little layout and some install crosswalks.
Yep.
They held us up a little bit, of course, equipment and then weather and
Weather this week didn't
Up
help.
there is- yep, it's all done, completed.
Good.
Looks good.
All right, 100% done then.
Yes, we're out of there.
All right, we love it. Well, thanks, Jim.
Yep, welcome.
And then for the project or the photo archives, I have Alan, who died in 2004 or 2020 on June 14th. So 4 years ago today. And this isn't necessarily Father's Day of the date. In fact, I don't even know the date very accurately, but giving Scotty and I haircuts. So pretty cool photo. So happy Father's Day to everybody out there. I'll turn it back over to Matt and Tom in the safety department.
Yeah, you
Thank you,
too,
Ken.
Ken. Happy Father's Day to you.
Yeah, thank you.
If you're watching a group setting, please send over attendance. I already started seeing some emails and some text messages. Appreciate it. Like I said earlier, looks like the weather's going to clear up for us, so it's going to be a great day to work safe. Let's have a good one. Thank you all.
Hey,